And welcome back to the Idiots Football Show. I'm idiot number 1, Ballo. Idiot number 2 on my right, Adam.
Happy to be here as always.
And idiot number 3 on my left, Zach.
What an intro, man.
Thank you. Now let's get right into a beautiful week of football. We just saw last week the Eagles absolutely kicked the shit out of the Pittsburgh Steelers 35-13. Now, although I did say the lock of the week was going to be the Steelers at plus 10.5, that clearly did not happen. The Steelers got their shit kicked in, and it felt great. It felt great to watch it on TV. It felt great to experience it. Everything about that game was phenomenal. And not even just that, I got to see A.J. Brown be an absolute dog on national television. It was awesome. Nothing's better than getting to see your number one superstar that isn't a quarterback really tear it up. I mean, for crying out loud, the guy had 3 touchdowns and 156 yards on 6 receptions. You can't ask much more from a player like that.
No.
You really can't.
It's exactly what you traded for, and it's so great to see when it actually happens. Same thing for me when they trade Tyreek Hill. It's so beautiful to see these wide receivers just pop off, and you really feel their impact on a single game.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was really an awesome thing to watch. I mean, we saw Jalen Hurts have an absolutely great game. You know, 4 passing touchdowns, 285 yards. He really didn't have to do much in the rushing game with only 2 rush attempts for 10 yards, which is something I really like to see. You know, had an unbelievable passing game against Pittsburgh. You know, everything about this game is a yes. Nothing went wrong. We did no wrong in this game. They absolutely kicked the shit out of him on defense, took it to him on offense. I mean, I think my favorite part about the whole game was after A.J. Brown scored his 3rd touchdown after little boying Minka Fitzpatrick for the 3rd time that game, and literally got up and had to point at them and went, you both suck, and then got a little excessive celebration penalty. But what are you gonna do when he scored 3 touchdowns in one half of football?
Let's be honest. Best part about this game, jean short wearing Gardner Minshew. 2 passes.
Hey, you know
That's
what?
big.
And he didn't look bad. I'll take it.
He never looks bad. Gardner Minshew, underrated backup quarterback.
He
Anyway,
really is.
Jalen Hurts, again, was really good. And that's been what Jalen Hurts has been all year. I mean, the guy is, I think, could be on track for MVP. That's the biggest key for the Eagles.
You mean he is on track?
He is on track.
MVP.
He is on track. I mean, he threw 4 touchdowns, quarterback rating of 140.6. Excellent numbers.
Almost
Against
perfect.
a defense that, they're a 2-6 team, but the Steelers' defense has always been good, and they're so well coached that to see Jalen Hurts do that and dominate the way he did, it's going to give every Eagles fans even more confidence because, I mean, more than they already have, because they certainly have a lot right now. But look, the Eagles, they're 7-0, only undefeated team in the NFL right now, and it shows why. Jalen Hurts has been money. A.J. Brown has been incredible. The defense has come through in the big spots they need them to. They're a tough team to beat right now.
I think the biggest part about this team is really the fact that, they don't make mistakes. Good teams don't make mistakes. And I know everyone's saying that, the Eagles have an easy strength of schedule. I mean, everyone they play is garbage, blah, blah, blah. You know what? If the Eagles were a bad team,
who the hell
then
cares?
It would show. Exactly. Who the hell cares? In 2017, the Eagles had a very weak strength of schedule, and this was something that was constantly talked about throughout NFL analysts and people on the broadcast, everybody.
Yeah.
They said the Eagles aren't going to be that great of a team. They played a bunch of garbage in the regular season. Let's see how they're going to fare against a winning team. But you know what? Winning teams don't make mistakes. They win the easy games. And seeing them win the easy games is probably the best thing I've seen this season. Because that really does give me a lot more confidence than anything else in this Philadelphia Eagles team. So, sadly, I know my bet of plus 10.5 for the Steelers did not hit. But that's okay. We really got to see a great game. Saw Najee Harris really look like the Najee Harris we've seen this year, doing absolutely nothing. Only had 32 rushing yards on 8 attempts. Kenny Pickett looked lost. The game overall felt pretty good. It really showed how great the Eagles have been this year.
Najee Harris is is not himself anymore, and I'm not sure why after just 1 year of a turnaround. He seems as a north to south runner that is going to plow over players. You watch him play, and he's trying to
go east and west.
East and west. He's trying to be shifty and hesitate, and that's what ruins half of his plays, and he's just hurting himself at this point.
I mean, watching the game, there was one specific play I could actually very, very well call out, where Najee Harris on the left side of the field had gotten a little dump off pass, and 4 yards to a first down. All you gotta do is run straight and you got it. There was nobody near him. He stops in his tracks, tries to do some stupid move, and then all of a sudden you have 4 Eagles tackling you for a yard gain. I mean, I'm content with that, but I'm sure Najee Harris isn't, and that looked absolutely horrible from a guy who's a first-round running back and a running back who had so much talent and so much promise coming out of last year.
Well, everyone made fun of the Steelers when they drafted a running back in the first round because that is not a thing you do in modern football. You just don't do it. I mean, guys have been drafted in the early 2010s in the first round as running backs, but that's kind of been a trend that's gone away. And Steelers, they did that, and that's something they probably shouldn't have done because now you're seeing the limitations to a guy like that. And running backs, I mean, we talk about it all the time, that they don't last that long in football these days. They're out of the league in 4 or 5 years, and maybe sooner for Najee if he's doing that. Because like you said, he's not an East-West runner, and that's what he's trying to be. And you really, in this league, you can't try to be what you're not. And a guy like that has to be the guy who's, bowling people over and running down the field, the middle of the field, not side to side. He's not a lateral guy. He's a north-south runner, and that's what he's got to be.
No, 100%, 100%. So now, I'm going to move on to the, we're looking forward now. We're going to talk about the Eagles versus the Texans coming up on this Thursday. This is a game that I'm not going to say I'm very excited for because I expect the Eagles to absolutely wax the Texans. I mean, if they don't give the Texans a Brazilian, I'd be a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie. So currently we do have the spread. It's sitting at minus 13.5 towards Philadelphia. And you know what? I'm going to stay with the boys, the gang green. I'm rolling with that minus 13.5 towards Philly. I think that this game could be an absolutely huge blowout on Thursday night, which has been probably the only primetime spot we have consistently seen absolute garbage play out of one of the teams, if not both the teams, every Thursday night this season.
And you'll see it out of the Texans again. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah,
I very much agree. I think the
Especially
Eagles'
against-
defense will just absolutely they will give that team an absolute whooping.
especially against that defense. It is more people are probably going to be watching the Philly-Houston baseball World Series game
Than the Philly-Houston game on Thursday night.
No doubt that's the case.
100,000%. I think that's the better Philly-Houston game to watch anyway. So now, we're going to move on here. We're going to talk about our Ravens versus the Buccaneers. This happened on, I believe, Thursday Night Football. And actually, probably the only good showing of Thursday Night Football we've seen all year so far. We saw a nice comeback from behind victory by the Ravens. It was actually a great game for Lamar Jackson doing what he's done this year, really being an unclutch quarterback. He really did look like a clutch quarterback this game. He finally got over that hump of not being able to finish out a game. He could not have finished that game any better than he did against the Buccaneers, really taking it to him on Tom's divorce day.
Yeah, tale of two halves here because the Ravens looked flat in the first half. They went into the locker room with 3 points at halftime. That's something that's super uncharacteristic of them, but I actually think that played in their favor this week because if you look at what the Ravens have done, they've blown 3 fourth-quarter leads that have been double digits. And actually go in down at halftime was not a terrible thing for them because
without Mark Andrews, man.
Without Mark Andrews and without Rashad Bateman. They were missing a lot of key pieces. Gus Edwards also didn't play a good chunk of this game, even though when he did, he had 11 carries for 65 yards and he was pretty good. That's
Keep
an
the
average.
bus rolling, baby.
That's an average of 6 yards per carry, so that's solid numbers there. But my point is here, the Ravens went in to halftime down, and they came out and they kept their foot on the pedal for the third and fourth quarter and came back, and that was a really big thing for them. They outscored Tampa Bay 14-0 in the third quarter and put up another 10 in the fourth. Really, really big win for them because I think it gets their confidence back. They defeat a guy like Tom Brady, who even though he's not playing at his best this year, is still one of the smartest quarterbacks and most accurate quarterbacks in football, even when he's not playing his best.
Look, that's what happens when you get divorced mid-season.
Yeah.
It makes it very tough when you choose football over your kids and your family. And you're,
right.
It's something else. I mean, that man's clearly going through a little bit of something. Otherwise, I don't really think that he loses this lead has he not gotten divorced right before the game. So I just think that's the funniest thing in the world. We saw the absolute goated quarterback just get completely shut down on Thursday Night Football not because of the Ravens, but because of his ex-wife.
And you can actually see it, like the way he plays, the way the team performs, and there's kind of no other excuse other than maybe Todd Bowles is a bad head coach, which I do believe.
That is also true.
I mean, Todd Bowles is a coach we saw. He was the head coach of the New York Jets for a little while. He puts up a great defensive show. He really does. He's a great defensive coordinator. But beyond that, I have a very hard time believing in this man as a head coach moving forward.
Yeah. Isaiah Likely stepped up big time, too. The guy was a preseason hero for the Ravens, had 77 yards receiving, 12.8 average there. And
also
that
scored a touchdown, yeah.
That touchdown in the back of the end zone where he got his feet down. Beautiful throw by Lamar. Beautiful catch by Likely. He stepped up big time. Demarcus Robinson, I don't think they won this game without him. He played excellent. Six receptions for 64 yards. Played really well. And came up clutch. A guy that they're going to need a lot out of without Rashad Bateman.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
Encouragingly to see how those two guys are the ones to step up, other than people we might have heard of before, of Devin Duvernay and James Prochet.
Yeah.
Maybe you would have thought had a couple more extra catches, but no, these two guys step up, run really good routes, made a lot of clutch catches on third down and that touchdown. They were really the shockers of the game.
And that being said, they definitely had to take over, after Mark Andrews' early exit of this game. I mean, Mark Andrews is the third leading receiver for this game. And what's it called? Demarcus Robinson and Isaiah Likely were the only guys to get more yards than him throughout this entire game, receiving wise. So it really shows, how big these guys were in this game for the Ravens.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge. So, we're gonna move on now. We're gonna talk about the Ravens and the Saints. This game's coming up sooner than later. I believe it's a Monday night game, so at least it'll be back-to-back primetime games for the Ravens. Always exciting. Currently their spread sits at -2.5. Now, I gotta know from the man himself, the Ravens fan. Do you take -2.5 versus the Saints on Monday night?
Oh, easily. I have all the confidence in the world here. I believe Andy Dalton's going to be starting for the Saints. That looks like that will be the case.
It does seem like that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
It's been weird since Jameis has been injured, not injured. I'm not really sure what's going on with that.
Believe me, the Ravens have seen plenty of Andy Dalton over the years. I mean, longtime Bengals quarterback. He knows how to beat the Ravens. He's done it a lot in his career, but I don't believe they have the core around him to be able to knock off the Ravens. The Saints have played okay this year in a lot of places, but the Ravens, they're on a roll right now. 2 really decisive wins in a row that were big for them, gave them a lot of confidence. Adding Roquan Smith into this defense, and then also adding in Tyus Bowser, who's basically their best pass rusher coming back from injury. We'll see David Ojabo, I think, the week after that, after the bye week.
He came back quite early.
Yeah, he just got activated today, so that's big news for them.
That's very exciting. Guy out of Michigan, second-round pick, very, very highly talked about prior to tearing his Achilles, I believe, in the draft combine.
He did, exactly, and he'll be back against the Panthers on November 20th, but huge return of Tyus Bowser, and then, of course, Roquan's going to help out big time up the middle. So the Ravens, I think this will be a decisive win for them.
Nice.
I believe so too. The Thursday night long weekend break is going to really show for them.
I think that really
very
will
well
help.
needed. Yeah,
100%. Really having that much time in between games gives you a lot of time to prepare, a lot of time to rest, a lot of time to recover. And I mean, especially mid-season, you really can't beat extra time when you're not in a bye week to recover like this. This is an absolutely phenomenal thing for the Ravens. To be able to have that Thursday night all the way. Their next game's on Monday night. Really give them that time to relax and take a breath.
Yeah.
So, I don't think the Saints have anything special. I mean, the Red Rocket himself isn't that great of a quarterback. He really doesn't have much to offer. I know this team is packed full of great receivers who are constantly injured and not Chris Olave. So, we'll see how that goes. I do like Chris Olave. He's a very, very talented receiver, probably the most talented receiver to come out of this draft. But, if Michael Thomas is able to get back out on the field, if Jarvis Landry is able to get back out on the field, I have a hard time seeing how exactly this target distribution is going to be in the future, and especially for fantasy implications. I think it's going to be a very interesting thing moving forward. So, keeping it short today, we're going to move on to Miami versus the Detroit Lions. They had a decisive 31-27 victory over the Lions this week, which was very exciting. And Adam, I'd like you to take it away. I want to hear what you have to say about your Miami Dolphins.
Very, very great come-from-behind win. We were down by...
That's what she said.
by 2 scores coming into halftime. And right out of the gate in the third quarter, we come out and score 2 straight touchdowns and shut down the Lions in the second half. It was a very great win for not only just for this offense, high-powered offense, 382 yards, threw for about 80% on his attempts, and of course with Tyreek Hill going 188 yards, Jalen Waddle 106 with 2 touchdowns. Beautiful.
I mean, the man damn near had 400 yards passing with 3 touchdowns. That's impressive.
It's so impressive. This offense is so written so perfectly by Mike McDaniels. His brilliance is showing throughout each game. It's amazing to watch and amazing to see. But I think the big step up about this is the Miami Dolphins in the second half being able to stop the runs of the Detroit Lions, stopping Jared Goff from passing. He did have 321 passing yards, but most of that came in the first half. In the second half, he really slowed down. The whole team
Seemed quite
slowed down.
ineffective.
The Dolphins' defense really stepped up, and now adding Bradley Chubb to this defense is going to be exciting for the next game as well.
I think something that also helped out the Dolphins in this game is we really didn't see a strong return from DeAndre Swift. We saw Jamal Williams really keep the lead of this backfield, which I was quite surprised of, but hopefully going forward here, we do see a little bit more of DeAndre Swift put in this offense. I think that could have definitely changed the game a little bit. Granted, he did score a touchdown, but really only did have maybe 5 or 6 touches total in this game.
Yeah, the touchdown was off a quick 5-yard pass out of the backfield, not too much. Did make a great move on our linebacker, but other than that did definitely make a difference. I'm assuming they're just leaning in DeAndre Swift to come into the, get back from his injury and slowly bring him back into the game, into the league.
He's one of the best running backs in football when he's healthy. DeAndre Swift is
I really do
good.
think so.
He is quite a talented back. I
loved
really
him
am
in the
surprised
draft.
that they really relied on Jamal Williams this game. I mean, not to say that Jamal Williams isn't a great back, because he's probably the best number 2 running back in the
I was
entire
about
league,
to say
not
the same
named
thing.
Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And Kareem Hunt should be a Dolphin, by the way. But yeah, T.J. Hawkinson looked really good, and that's why another reason I think he's going to be really good on the Vikings. 3 receptions for 80 yards is an incredible numbers
He
for him
had
there.
one chunk of a play for about
Yeah.
60 yards. It was incredible.
I love that for my fantasy team.
Oh, I do too, man. You
Even
can't
though
beat it.
we're gonna come probably like bottom 5 in my league, but it doesn't matter. But
You know
yeah,
what? As long as you're not last and you got to deal with no punishments,
we're not
then
going
you're
to be
thriving.
last.
That's all you got to do.
I think they're still a winless team, so I'm not last.
Hey, that's all that counts. But to bring it back down to Miami, I mean, it really does seem like Miami has a very strong hold on where they want to go this season. I mean, they're a 5-3 team. They really do look like the second strongest team in their division. I mean, I wish I could say they were the strongest, but the Bills just happen to be an absolute weapon and an absolute powerhouse within this league. It's hard to compete with them, but they're going to have another game coming up later this season, I believe. Is that game in Miami or is that game in Buffalo?
That one will be in Buffalo, and it is what's one of the later games this season. But, the fact that we beat them the first meeting shows that we definitely have a good enough team to compete with them. They are obviously, them and the Chiefs are the team to beat in the AFC, and I think our high-powered offense with this new revamped defense will be something that can definitely compete with these teams.
100%. That's the biggest thing you could really ask for here is just to compete. I mean, I think something that's probably the biggest thing Miami was able to do is just go out and pick up Tyreek Hill. Now, I'm someone that wasn't all too big on Tyreek Hill prior to this season, but Jesus Christ, I mean, the guy, I've watched him save Tua on multiple throws. I mean, he really is the shining star of the whole entire Miami offense. He is something special. He's unbelievable. I never thought he would have been this type of player off of the Chiefs. But you know what? Scheme or no scheme, it doesn't matter. Tyreek Hill is that guy.
He is him. He's an easily top 5 receiver, at least for this year. And Jesus, they are utilizing his speed so well. Even when he's not running down all the way down the field and running easy, quick hook or crossing routes, they use him so well. His speed exploits every single defense.
Yeah, 188 yards receiving. That's
something else.
And that'll work. This is another. We talked about the Dolphins and being stacked at every position, but you look at the wide receiver spots, and
they have the best wide receiver duo in the entire league.
Waddle and Hill, who in any given game can put up 200 yards. That's incredible. It's incredible.
And that's coming from an Eagles fan, who has Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. I mean,
yeah.
It's very clear that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle do have the best wide receiver.
If you want to talk about great receivers, you should talk to a Ravens fan. We know all about them.
Oh, I'm sure you do. So, let's get into the game upcoming. The Miami Dolphins are going to take on the Chicago Bears.
Go Bears!
Now, the spread for this game is going to be -5. And Adam, I want to know, are you taking Miami at -5 versus the Bears?
I am taking that and hammering it with everything I got.
So it sounds like Adam's putting his mortgage on it, his rent on it, and his college tuition. Because you know what? I am with him on this one. There's no way that Miami loses this game. Or even loses this game, doesn't win this game by at least a touchdown. I would be shocked if Miami is not good enough to really take it to the Bears, especially after the Bears just lost Roquan Smith, just lost Robert Quinn. I don't care if they went out there and acquired Chase Claypool. That doesn't mean all too much to me, especially for a team who's just looked really dumbfounded on offense. Granted, the last 2 weeks they've been significantly better. It seems like they've changed the scheme up a little bit, really let Justin Fields actually throw the ball instead of just be a one read, one option, and then take off type of guy. It seems like this offense is becoming just more competent as the season goes on. Granted, Miami just is a significantly more talented team, and we do see this sometimes, where you just get it taken to you. I mean, Miami really does have that type of talent. I really think it's going to be a hard day for Justin Fields in that backfield, especially with Bradley Chubb coming off the edge, this next game.
No doubt. I totally agree with that. The Bears
just don't have much to
they're
offer.
Not good. They're not good. Simply put.
That's what I'm saying. They were a bad team that only got worse. They only got worse. I have a hard time really seeing how anything special happens. I mean, granted, this line is probably reflective of the last 2 weeks of, the Bears actually being a halfway competent, halfway decent team. But I really don't foresee how Miami doesn't just absolutely take it to them. I would be shocked if Miami doesn't win by at least 2 touchdowns in this game.
I'm excited to watch a good old manslaughter on Sunday morning.
Hey, nothing better. Now, I'd really like to thank all you idiots for listening to this show, and we really appreciate it. We're really thankful that we got some fans here that love to listen to us. So I'd just like to sign it off here. I got idiot number 2 on my right.
Happy to be here. Fins up, baby.
Idiot number 3 on my left.
Let's go Ravens.
And idiot number 1 in the middle. Your host, Zach. I'd really like to thank you guys for showing up today, really being a part of the Idiots Football Show family. And, to leave it off with you, let's go football. Let's go Philly.